Hey everybody, we're live at Pace Studio on the road here in Los Angeles at beautiful Hotel Cafe with Nick Waterhouse and everybody. Nick Waterhouse and everybody, thank you for being here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Thank
Man.
you to all my crew. This is a happy reunion in the heart of Hollywood.
Yes, well, thank you for doing that reunion here. The sound check has sounded wonderful. This is the most showy show I've experienced in a very, very long time, so it feels great. And congratulations to you in advance, because Promenade Blue is about to be out in the world on April 9th, and we're going to hear a lot of music from it today. Man, what's coming up first?
That's right. We're going to start with one of the latest singles that's on side 2 of the LP for those of you that still buy LPs. It's called Be Santa Ana 1986, which goes out to all my folks in my hometown. Not from New York, and I never was. I never did live there because things felt dirty, things felt small. Every room felt just like a hall you'd take to another place or another time. Somebody always saying you got to meet some friend of mine. Well, that was the impression of mine. But I'm from California, I'm from California, I'm from California, and I don't mind. I'm from California, born in California, yes, in California, where we take our time. Well, not from Texas, and I never was. I never could live there because it's too wide, too tall. I do comprehend, yeah, I've heard the call, but if you're from out of town, it's your bad luck. Reminders as frequent as a pickup trucks, but yeah, I'm from California, I'm from California, I'm from California, and I don't mind. I'm from California, born in California, yes, in California, where we take our time. Well, they are kind, they always are. Want to remind you though you travel far. Well, picking fruit from the same little tree never did much appeal to me.
Yeah.
All right, a little loosey-goosey there, but you know.
Man, dude, this sounds great. Thank you for doing this. It's always, and one of the most fun parts about this job is watching musicians just thinking very quickly and arranging stuff very, very fast. You guys sounded tremendous. It was a total pleasure to watch it come together the way it did. And yeah, man, I appreciate it very much. I want to talk about California and your
Yeah, let's do it,
California-ness and the California-ness of this record. Can you talk about some of your fond or otherwise California memories that inspired you to create the record the way you did?
Sure. You know, that tune is really rooted actually in this sector, which is we're in the heart of Hollywood, and down the road, a lot of really amazing records by people like the Coasters and Young Jesse and the Flares and the Rivingtons were made, and those have always been a huge influence on me. But this particular record, I wanted to, like, I don't know, write a little more inside the 45 feel, which includes a little more humor. And so a tune like that, which is sort of like a talking blues, in my mind, starts as like something I would have written for, you know, Young Jesse to sing on a record. And that song was actually inspired by him. We had the chance to back him up in New York City in 2017, and we did all these auditions and rehearsals, and you know, we'd be playing with Archie Bell and Irma Thomas and all these people. And Jesse was the one guy who was like, these boys are from California. They could really play. And it got me to thinking about how, you know, the LA Hollywood conception of what Southern California is a very one-dimensional form. And there are these other places that seem to have a lot of civic pride or branding. And this is a place where we take all kinds. Like, people come from all over the world to be here. And the California I grew up in has so many layers and so many cultures to it that I was just thinking, you know, what's more Californian than to say, like, I don't mind. You know, it's not like a macho statement of intent going on there. So we started working on this record, and I found that I was writing from a place of, like, Place Names is a real San Francisco song, and that's a real, like, West Coast tune, and there's all points in between on the record.
Nice. Well, it's an eminently danceable song. I mean, we were listening to the single studio version of that over breakfast today, and I dare anybody who's watching right now to check that studio version out and not move some part of your body. It's amazing. I really enjoyed the rendition that you guys played, and that single is out. I think there's a couple singles out, but then the album itself is out April 9th.
That's right, April 9th on Innovative Leisure Records. Buy it at your local record store if you can. And we've got a couple tunes out. We have some songs we're going to play today, and we're actually going to play a new one that hasn't been released yet and debut it here for you guys toward the end of the set.
Sweet. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to what's second. Also, what are you guys going to do second today?
We're going to do one called Medicine, which I guess geographically takes us to a different place. This one's a little more Louisiana vibes. So you guys want to hit it? Okay. This one's called Medicine. Well, you flew to New Orleans to rent a car and to see your friend, whoa, to put him in the hospital again. In the back, on the second floor, right across from the radio bar. No food in the fridge, I guess things had gone too far. Where all things come and all things pass. Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast. Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
Hey, all things come and all things pass, but it
Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
in your blue silk robe, burning cigarettes, dreaming of Isolde on a Baton Rouge day. Well, where you going and what's on spec? Did man invent his illnesses, or are we fundamentally unstable? Hey, Mother Mary's shrine, hiding under the table, where all things come and all things pass. Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast. Takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
Well, all things come and all things pass, but
It takes a lot of medicine to go this fast.
well, I know the feeling too. I know that's why I'm here with you. Receive of mine, grab every stray broadcast. Yes, it's true, it takes a lot of medicine just to go this fast. Well, Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we talk a little bit about the album, the title itself, Promenade Blue, and the way that color represents this era, this feeling that you're getting across, and also the literary background to what you were thinking when you put this out into the world?
Sure. Blue, I mean, anybody familiar with my catalog is going to know that I am deeply indebted to the blues, and I think it's welded to American music in a way that even listening to pop music, you're not going to hear something totally divorced from it. But it's something that's like, it's bigger than just a tonality or a note. It's like a whole way of being, you know? And there's an instrumental on the record called Promenade Bleu, which is like, I wanted to make a American bastardization of this. I love French language and how it translated to like modernist poetry. So a lot of the modernists and concurrently like the beats and some of the modern American poets of the 30s, 40s, 50s, they were taking from what French symbolists were doing in the late 1800s and using like language in abstracted ways. Like there are words that are not quite so literal in French, and blue to me became this like American version of that, because it's like a thing that's unique to us. Like it came out of this nation. Like it was a bunch of things coming together, and so as a word and a space and sort of a cast. It's like a tinge before the sunlight goes down. That was something that I was observing when I was sort of assembling the record. Like every lyric, even if it's not sad, it's got like a little bit of blues to it, right? Whether that's like spiritual blues or harmonic blues. And the notion of like promenading is, it's being out, it's walking the streets, but with no real purpose. It's like you're in the world, right? And it's like walking through this feeling. And I started to think of how that's really what I try to do with my songs if I want to get heavy about it. It's like give people this stroll through a world that maybe they don't live in. And that's what records that really moved me did when I was growing up.
Nice. Well, definitely it's creating a very specific vibe here in this room right now that I'm enjoying a ton. So thank you for sharing the music and the inspiration behind it also, man. This is fascinating.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, man, I love it. I'm having a great time, and we are not even at halfway point, dude. There's a lot of music to be shared with the internet right now. What are you guys going to do third today?
Well, out there in internet land, we're gonna do what they used to call a beat ballad, I guess. This is a blue song. It's called Very Blue, and again, it's got a very Californian mood to it. I'd like to thank, by the way, the band for getting things together. We haven't really done any playing together since quarantine started, and so
Sure.
everybody here, it's a real privilege to have you all here, and I'm glad that we could get these arrangements together. So, viewer, please bear in mind what astounding professionals are on stage and behind the stage here with me. All right, this is Very Blue. You were smiling at me, hanging languidly on your car door window. Very blue, very green, ocean breeze, and shuffling trees, Pacific seas. Very blue, when I catch a memory, that's me. Very blue, that's you, in my mind too. Last time you were really there with me, wore this pattern you did always. Oh, very blue. You and I, watch out now, you'll make me cry. Very blue. What's a shade anyway? Trying hard just to wake you up, and you kept on repeating the same thing over and over, never to open your eyes. Well, turning blue, turning green, I know what you mean when you say you can't see me the same way you used to. Still I get you'll make me cry. Very blue. What's a shade anyway? Thank you.
Thank you. Nick, can you tell us a little more about the relationship with Paul Butler and how that started and what it looks like when you guys sit down in a room together and work? Like who brings what to the table when you're creating things like Promenade Blue?
Yeah, Paul is he's like the man with the golden ears when it comes to being like a sonic and rhythmic like nurturer. Paul and I met in, I believe, 2017 in Los Angeles while he was visiting here, and we immediately hit it off. We were supposed to have like a 30-minute meeting and hung out for 2 or 3 hours, and I think we both feel kindred because we're in pursuit of this living, like breathing way of making music in like an increasingly mechanized realm. He's somebody who's really interested in like air and dirt in music. Like instead of being like, right, we can render all this for you, Nick, as some producers might do, I sense that Paul's like very connected in like taking what an asset of mine might be, like my concepts or my skeletons of songs, and then helping root those to like move up from there. And besides that, like I absolutely implicitly trust him on the other side of the glass in the studio, because sometimes I'd be working on records of my own and I'm having to run back and forth from the floor to the control room so that I can't ever really focus. And from the start, like for this record, I was going to visit him at his funny little like minimalist shack in like a rural zone north of LA, and we were doing what we were calling like topangos, where they were rudimentary grooves and with changes, and like rather than hooks, I like to think of songs as like having treats, which are things that I would find in records I like that are like, oh, this is where like this fill or this lick is interplaying with the rhythm section. Instead of just repeating it and beating it into submission, like you let it be a treat. And so we were sort of really delving into that while I had a notebook full of all the lyrics and concepts and songs. And then I had also been working on material like with Mondo Durame, who's on tenor sax here today, which is, you know, a song that we're going to play next. And another tune called Fugitive Lover that ended up on the LP. So Paul was like, it's a real mind meld. And then when we're mixing, he's so curious about like everything that I know and am interested in, it's kind of like he amplifies every concept that I would have in exactly the way you would want, like a co-producer to be working with you.
That's great, man. I'm glad that you guys found that relationship, and I mean, his interest in the air and dirt of music that is a very cool way to describe that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that very much. So I'm glad that you said that. I'm glad that we heard that. Man, that's really cool. And it's the product is wonderful. I hope that everybody who's checking out this live stream right now gets to check out Promenade Blue when it comes out on April 9th. It is what I've heard so far. The singles out in the world are delightful, as is this performance. And we got more, man. What are you guys doing next?
Yeah, we're going to do one that I worked on with Mondo Jarame. This one is it's based on a Wallace Stevens poem that's over 100 years old that's always been a favorite of mine. And it's really a true love song. It's called Vincentine. You as new between earth and sky. It made you seem so small and nameless, but named in my eye. Then you came a walking among others. You came a talking, whoa, not like another. Yeah, my Vincentine. Say what it mean, heavenly Vincentine. Then again, oh my Vincentine, warm as flesh, brunette, yet not too brunette. There's warm, there's clean, her dress was green, was a white and green. Oh my Vincentine, say what mean, heavenly Vincentine. Oh, thank you.
Nice, thank you, man. So I mean, it sounds like there's so many literary references that that have gone into the creation of this. It seems natural to talk about what you're reading now. Are you still reading a lot of the poetry that you've referenced earlier in this? Or are you into, what are you reading and enjoying right now, or have read recently throughout pandemic and really enjoyed?
Well, recently I've been actually reading a lot of Kenneth Patchen and Rex Roth. The passing of Lawrence Ferlinghetti kind of, Ferlinghetti was a huge influence on me. Like, I wouldn't have the life I had without him. I really lived in the world that he created. Like, City Lights and him specifically were sort of like a subconscious influence where he showed that you could sort of do things your own way. and seed a garden. And so I lived on Vallejo Street, which was one block up and down the alley from City Lights. And when I was in college and I didn't have any money, I was either going to school or working my 2 jobs or reading books for free at City Lights, because that's what he believed in. He was the same feeling that I loved about like Rookie Ricardo's records, where I worked in the city, was there's a listening station and we're open from noon to 8 and you can listen to records all day. You don't have to buy anything. Ferlinghetti, like, his art was radical and his conception of how you could be was radical, and it was like radical compassion. And that came from people like Rexroth and Patchen. He cited them as like sort of the opinion of what helped seed the Bay Area before the beat era. So I broke out some of those books in light of Ferlinghetti's passing. So yeah, I'm always reading poetry. I think it's really healthy for your mind. It's not quite a snack, but you can do it. It's antithetical to picking up your iPhone and getting in a scroll, you know?
Yeah.
And to me, that's how I thought of lyrics and songs for a long time, is that you're constructing this tight world, you know? You're not a novelist. You're writing a poem for somebody. Now, I also wholeheartedly believe in appreciating records on an aesthetic level only, a feel level, because that's the magic of music. But besides that, you know, I in quarantine, I found I was breaking out both comfort reads and a lot more nonfiction. I kind of triangulated my knowledge of studios again, which is like the forever question for me, is like, how do we make a new world like Lawrence Ferlinghetti did for recording music and making music in a increasingly centralized and highly capitalized like world, but in a way that feels like people in a room together, instead of this atomized, alienated way of making it alone on a computer and sending it to somebody else. That's actually what I always found was the power of like recording studios and playing music with other people. I'm messing up the most today with all these great players, but like we didn't rehearse, and part of what rewards me so much is playing with everybody else. And so a lot of my reading during quarantine was with the drive towards that. But it's really amusing to be reading like an interview with somebody like who was the pervy dude that was the LA pop producer? He did the Runaways and all that stuff. Anyways,
Kim
Fowley.
Yeah.
I don't really like Kim Fowley or anything he made, but like triangulating knowledge of an ecosystem where independent records were made is something that I'm always interested in. So, you know, there's a great Barney Hoskins book called Waiting for the Sun, like Lou Adler's biographies. There's a new Holland Dozier Holland book that came out that's a great insight into like how Motown not only worked, but like how writing and composition and arranging worked for them without being dry or boring, you know. And then I'll read like Ross McDonald for fun.
Nice. Well, dude, thank you for. I've got a laundry list of new books to check out. I have just wrapped mine on the plane, so I'm ready for a new one. And it's, man, when just hearing you talk about the interplay between you and all these musicians here is, I mean, it's so much fun to watch this in this room and see just you know, top-notch intelligence and creativity at work. This is cool, man. I really like it.
You hear that, guys?
Could you introduce everybody before we move on to the last song?
Yeah, we'll start from the piano over here. This is Lee Pardini.
All right, Lee.
An incredibly talented player in his own right. He's going to be doing a session, I think, later today for you guys.
Yeah, next, in fact.
On drums, we've got Eric Jackowitz.
All right, Eric.
Brian Lang on the bass.
Brian.
Miss Carol Hatchett on backing vocals.
Carol.
David, remind me your last name. Rollicke. David Rollicke on the trombone.
All right, David.
And the mighty Mondo Durame on the tenor saxophone.
Mondo. Nice, thank you, man. It was I knew the Ferlinghetti. This is a total aside, but I was born and raised on Vallejo Street as well, which is crazy. I
No
knew
way.
you had San Francisco roots, but I grew up right there. I used to work at the Purple Onion, and
Yeah.
that is, I just got like goosebumps at that level of at that coincidence that just happened here. But I know that that environment well.
Yeah, man, my initials were carved in the ladies' room of Tosca before it got bought. So.
Nice.
Anyways, we're gonna play one more for you. Which side of Vallejo were you on? By the
I
way?
was on the other side of the tunnel from North Beach. I was at Vallejo between Franklin and Goff.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that zone too.
Yep.
Okay.
Cow Hollow.
Hey, man. This one goes out to 519 Vallejo Street. We live next door to the Stella Bakery gals, which was phenomenal. They'd give us leftovers. Well, there's some place I'd rather be. Yeah, it's something that's been on my mind almost constantly. It's some place don't expect you to understand. Where people talk to me and I know can't comprehend. Well, I don't expect you to understand, and it's not much where I'm trying to speak it. Can't help trying to say it again. Am I sounding too oblique? Ow! Well, there's some place in my mind. Well, it's somewhere that I've been trying so hard to find. Well, it's someplace I know it's not quite clear. Yeah, there's a place I can only say that it's not right here. Well, I don't expect you to understand, and it's not much hate trying to speak where I can't help trying to say it again. Am I sounding too oblique? Oh, well, there's some place. See it in my mind. Yeah, it's something that I've been trying so hard to find. Oh, well, oh, it's some place. Yeah, it's some place. Oh, it's some place. Yeah, it's some place. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Man, dude, this has been delightful. Thank you so much, Nick. Thank you, everybody, for coming and doing this.
Thank you.
Best of luck on the record, man. It comes out. Promenade Blue is out on April 9th. And, dude, thank you for the preview and for the chat, too. This has been a great way to start the Tuesday.
It was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.